Okay, let's talk about the ups and downs of Call of Duty Black Ops 7. I have a lot to say. I'm going to try and keep it as brief as possible, but I have a lot to say about this game. So let me start by saying this. I have been a Call of Duty solo campaign apologist for the last 10 years. All these campaigns that people have really hated on and complained and bitched and griped about over the years, I have loved. Modern Warfare 3 reboot, Vanguard, Infinite Warfare, all these games that people were shitting on, I loved all of them. For at least the last 10 years. I have been a huge fan of the Call of Duty campaigns because they are the most, at the end of the day, they are the most realistic, most immersive military tactical shooters on the planet. Even some of the ones like, like Advanced Warfare games and Infinite Warfare, even though they were a little bit less realistic, at the end of the day, the combat, the gameplay, it was all there. It's all been great. I've been a huge fan of this series. I've been buying the $70 games just for the campaigns because I don't play the multiplayer outside of Warzone. So I'm a huge fan of these campaigns. And going into this, I expected to love it just as much as all the last one. I haven't read any reviews, so I don't know how this is reviewing. I imagine it's reviewing horrible. But even if that were true, I wouldn't care. But this is the one. This is the one that I'm finally like, okay, this one sucks. And I'll tell you why. First of all, let's get this out of the way. There are a couple of things three things I think that I can think of about this game that I do actually like. Number one, it's beautiful. It's the best graphics of any Call of Duty game so far, and that's saying something because they are on the bleeding edge when it comes to graphics most of the time. Even on the Xbox Series S, this game looks incredible. The face models are awesome. The environments look great. The game looks awesome. Second, some of the abilities that you get in this game, even though they are not very realistic and they break immersion, we'll talk about that in a second. At the end of the day, some of the abilities are pretty cool and they're pretty fun. Like there's one that lets you jump super high. There's one that you can throw a grenade and zombies come out and attack your enemies for you. There's a grappling hook that works really well. Some of the, again, not realistic at all, and we'll get to that in a second, but some of the abilities were fun. They did mix up the combat a little bit, and I did enjoy some of those. Third and finally, there are boss fights in this game. There's more of a boss fight focus in this Call of Duty campaign than any I've ever seen. Pretty sure of any Call of Duty campaign ever. Like real full-on boss fights where the big boss health bar at the top, and you gotta kill whatever giant thing or whatever person or whatever. And the boss fights, even though it's not why I play Call of Duty, and again, we'll talk about that in a second, at the end of the day, I like a good boss fight, and some of the boss fights in this game were pretty decent. And there were several of them. Way more than I've ever seen in any Call of Duty campaign, and they were all of them. None of them were bad. Most of them were good. A couple of them were great. So I liked those things. That's where the positives end, though. Let me talk. So there's several issues with this game. The reason that I play Call of Duty is because they are the most immersive, most realistic tactical shooters on the planet, and they always have been. And this game, well, first of all, let's start with my biggest problem with this game, and it's a very specific one. You cannot change the difficulty. I couldn't believe it. It just throws you in when you choose a new game, and without asking you what difficulty. And I was like, well, why wouldn't they ask what difficulty? I'm looking in the menu, and I can't find it. Is it under gameplay? Is it under interface or whatever? I'm like, where is the difficulty settings? Finally, I look it up, and I find out they do not exist for this game. And the only reason that I could find, and the only justification I could find online, was that if you have, since it's a co-op campaign, if you have somebody join your squad, if you have 2, then it ratchets up the difficulty a little bit. If you have 3, it's even harder, and the hardest is, I guess, 4. Now, there are games like Borderlands and stuff that do that, but the idea that I can't play on hard just because I'm playing by myself is absolutely asinine. It's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Fine, if you want to make the game harder when there's more people, that makes sense, and games like Borderlands and Destiny have been doing that for years. But give me a difficulty setting on top of that, please. You're going to make me play on the easiest setting just because I don't want to play with other people? I went back and looked at the death counts for the other Call of Duty games, because most games I play on normal. Almost every game I play on normal. The only franchise that I have a blanket exception to that for is the Call of Duty franchise, because it's much more fun to play, in my opinion, if you're playing as realistic as possible. And that's what Call of Duty is. It's hyper realistic, hyper immersive. And so when you get shot once or twice, you die in the hardest difficulties. That makes it feel more immersive and realistic. I just don't have that option with this game. So I looked back at my death counts. 300, 400, 500 deaths in some of the Call of Duty campaigns, which sounds like a lot, but that's how I like it. In this game, 11. It was brain dead easy. The only time I sweated at all was the very end of the game when they're throwing everything they have at you, and I did die twice at the end of the game. So the game was stupid easy. So that's having to get shot 50 times, 100 times to die is kind of immersion breaking. I'm sorry. That's just not how I'm used to playing Call of Duty. And so that was a huge issue. But really, it also speaks to a larger issue about this game, which is that they are making every attempt that they can to shoehorn multiplayer into every aspect of this game that you can. Even just looking at the launcher from the default settings, squad fill is default to on, which I didn't notice at first. So it's immediately, as soon as I choose new game, it's trying to match make me with other people, even though all I want is a single player story. And in between missions, you got to turn off squad fill, and you got to make sure that the launcher for Call of Duty has been a disaster for 5 or 6 years now, ever since they integrated it all into one app. It's always been a nightmare. The hardest part of this game was trying to install it. That's the hardest part of Black Ops 7, is trying to just install it and launch it to a point where I can play by myself. It was maddening. And that's been kind of true for a few years, but the fact that this game is a co-op campaign, that's the first time they've gone this far, to the point that there were multiple sections of this game that were like, this is very obviously designed with co-op in mind, and it's not as fun playing by myself, but that's the only way I want to play. So all of that to say that that's one of my biggest complaint, is that they just will not let you alone. They will not leave you alone. If you want to play this game by yourself, you're constantly being reminded on every screen, it seems like, that it's like, hey, you should, I guess you can play by yourself if you want, and there was this bug. We'll talk about I guess we can talk about the bugs now, because one of them is relevant to what I'm talking about. There is this glitch, or it appears to be a glitch, where even when squad fill is off, I'm playing by myself. During cutscenes, some other dude from Belgium or whatever is mic'd up, and I'm used to seeing this icon because I play a lot of Warzone. On the right side, it'll show a little indicator when you're picking up audio from some other player, and I'm used to seeing that in Warzone. That should be happening in Warzone. It should not be happening during an important cutscene in the middle of a mission that I'm playing solo. And it happened almost every video, almost every mission. I'm just listening to somebody talking to their 3-year-old toddler or their girlfriend or something while I'm trying to watch a fucking cutscene. Talk about immersion breaking. That is the stupidest. And again, it's just a bug, right? I'm sure that wasn't intended, but it speaks to a larger issue that this game does not leave you alone. If you're just trying to play by yourself, you're constantly being reminded, whether intentionally or not, that you really should be playing this game with other people. Anyway, I hated that. There was one other glitch that was a little bit annoying, where the cutscenes would skip forward and freeze momentarily. That I can forgive. This is a brand new game. I'm playing it at launch. I see glitches bugs like that all the time in all kinds of games. It wasn't that big of a deal. But the mic one was a huge deal. So a couple of glitches, but really it speaks to the larger issue that this game just will not allow you to play this game in peace if you want to do it by yourself. It's just structurally, this game is it's not really a Call of Duty game. And I've heard people say that before. It's like, oh, Infinite Warfare, that's not really a Call of Duty game. At the end of the day, at its core, it still felt like a Call of Duty game. This game takes even like the Black Ops games, where there's like these weird hallucinogenic levels where everything's really trippy. Those felt cool. Those were some of my favorite parts of some of those Black Ops games, because they would only do it once or twice within the game. And so those are like the levels that really stand out, and some of my favorite levels. That's been true in almost every Black Ops game. This game is not like that. This game, every single level is some trippy nightmare fever dream. every single level. You're fighting glass people made out of red smoke. You're fighting giant spider crab things that look like something out of the Flood from Halo. This game feels a lot more like a Gears of War game or a Halo game than Call of Duty. Even the crazier ones like Black Ops 3, Infinite Warfare, some of the other Black Ops games even all of that stuff still felt like Call of Duty because they knew when to pull their punches. It really feels to me like this game, when they were making this game, they made a list of all of the complaints that Call of Duty fans have had about their campaigns over the years. It's way too sci-fi. It's not realistic. It's not a military tactical shooter. There's all this bullshit with the interface. There's all these multiplayer aspects in the solo campaign. All of the complaints that people have had. It's like they took that list and were like, let's make the game that our fans will hate the most, because this game is just completely bonkers from start to finish. Like we were talking about the boss fights, I did enjoy the boss fights. They were some of my favorite parts of the game, but that's not why I played Call of Duty. I'm not playing Call of Duty so I can fight a giant flower for 15 minutes that takes 5,000 bullets to kill. That's just not Call of Duty. So at the end of the day, like, I did enjoy some of that stuff, but it's not why I play. It felt a lot more like Gears of War most of the time. There are some creatures in this game that are right out of something like Gears of War. And so it's, the reason that I play Call of Duty is because I want a realistic, immersive, tactical military shooter. That's not what this is at all. And even those games like Infinite Warfare and Black Ops 3 that were more like futuristic or whatever, they still felt like Call of Duty at their core. And this does not. This is the opposite of all of that. So I did, between the fact that it's way too easy and I can't change it, the interface is a nightmare, all the weird glitches, and the fact that it's just balls to the wall crazy, every single mission is some fever dream, it just makes for a game that seems to me to be deliberately bad. I actually have this theory, and it's probably not true because these games cost hundreds of millions to make and they wouldn't take a swing like this on purpose, but it almost feels like they made a bad game on purpose so that they could bounce back better next year. It does feel like that. Like they put together everything that people complain about the Call of Duty campaigns and put it all into one package. This game is kind of a nightmare. Now, also, there's nothing realistic or, to me, immersive about shooting smoke monsters, glass people, zombies, and robots. More than half of the enemies in this game are not regular people. They're robots, they're monsters, they're whatever. And so, yeah, again, I play a lot of games like that and I enjoy those, but that's not why I play Call of Duty. I wanted a realistic, immersive. There's nothing immersive about this game. It's constantly, it seems like it's deliberately breaking immersion as often as it can. So I guess I'll shut up there, but at the end of the day, the Call of Duty combat is the best first-person shooting combat in the world, and most of those elements are still here at their core, technically. Like, the combat's really tight, the gunplay is very good, it's very realistic, it's got weight to it, all of that stuff is still true, and so because of that, I still enjoyed some aspects of it occasionally, but for the most part, this game is doing everything in its power to distract you from itself. It seems like at every turn, it's just trying to point out how bad it is. So at the end of the day, I did not enjoy this game. It's the first Call of Duty campaign I have not enjoyed since Black Ops 3 I didn't love for some of the same reasons, but this one's worse. This one's crazier. This one's stupider. This one's more full of bullshit than any Call of Duty campaign I have ever played. And I've played almost all of them now. So, not a fan. This game will not rank well. When I went back and looked at where I rank my games, and this one, I think I have Call of Duty Black Ops 3 in the 400, around 400 out of 593, which is pretty bad. I think this one might be even lower. I'll have to think about it, but it's not going to rank well. It's the worst Call of Duty campaign of all time, in my opinion. I haven't played all of the older ones, like World at War and stuff like that yet. Maybe I will someday, but I've played everything from the original Modern Warfare on, and this is the worst one. By far, maybe. It's not a good game. I have no opinions about the multiplayer. I haven't touched that, nor will I. But because the only multiplayer I play is Warzone, and I do play quite a bit of that. But I'm not interested in Black Ops 7 multiplayer, so I have no opinions on that. It might be fantastic. but the solo campaign is an absolute fucking nightmare. All right, I'm gonna shut up. I'm gonna stop shitting on this game, but it's I'm glad it's over. It was mercifully short. That's one of the things I liked about it. All right, so last order of business here. Call of Duty Black Ops 7. What the fuck happened to you? Whatever. We're now going to delete you from our console and never play you again. Peace, bitch. Bye. Fuck off. Forever.